Hey everybody, welcome back to Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slovy. With me, of course, my good friend Pulahoko.
Hey.
Devious Vacuum.
Whoa, it's me.
Jim.
Hello.
Turbo C.
Investigation start.
I do say I love the music right before the investigation starts. You only hear it at the very, very beginning of trial, like that little low-key kind of thing. Anyway, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the one that's like dun dun dun?
So it's like that one.
Yeah, I got you.
It's before the trial actually starts, and you'll see a little scroller that's like somebody's on trial, they got murdered, and da da da. You know. But,
It's like introducing the introduction.
Yeah, exactly. Alrighty. So listen. Where we left off, of course, we got our first death, Rentaro Amami. And now the investigation starts to figure out why he died. Who wants to take it away, D-Vac?
Monokuma shows up and says, alright, he's dead. Whoever killed him, you get to graduate right now. Just raise your hand. So,
Just
who
cash
did it?
in that first blood perk right now. Just
Who did it?
your
They're
hand.
all in the library. Who did it? No one raises their hand.
Oh, I guess nobody did it.
Monokuma's like, alright, fuckers. Guess you gotta investigate this crime anyway, and we're gonna have a trial, and the murderer doesn't need the first blood perk.
Also, Monokuma calls the Rantaro the ultimate who cares,
It's very rude.
Wait, what?
which I was like, oh, that's what his actual. Oh wait, no, he was making a joke.
We'll never know.
The ultimate whatever.
Because I was like, oh, he's like aloof and like he doesn't actually know that much. No.
I still don't
Ultimate
think
red
he's
herring.
anything. Yeah.
So, we're in investigation mode, and I feel like Danganronpa kind of fast-tracks its investigations, unlike Phoenix Wright or similar things, because, like, it sort of railroads you a little bit, but more to do the thing of, like, wait, don't leave this room yet, you're not done investigating it.
Yeah,
kind of
it
thing,
does
you know?
that at other
I
points
prefer
in the
that
game,
so
too.
much more than Phoenix Wright. Let's be honest, because I miss
think-
so much otherwise.
I think I'm in that same camp, because also it's like, when there's that one clue you need, but you have no idea whatsoever what it is, and it's like, oh, here's 3 pixels that's supposed to be a smudge on the wall or something, you know?
Oh yeah, that's the murderer's name written in blood over here.
Yeah, exactly. But like, and the thing is that there's also like, if you press I think Y, there's an investigation mode where all the background stuff turns to like black. It almost looks kind of like that detective view in
Batman.
in the Arkham
Yeah.
games. Yeah. Where you can like just see all the pertinent things and people that you can click on, and that way you don't have to like kind of like squint over at like the bookcases and say, is that one book out of place or something? So Danganronpa is very helpful in that regard.
Yeah.
Dangan.
Yeah, it's actually been a pretty linear game up to this point, because even during other sections of the story, if there's something like, well, we have to go to the manhole cover, or we have to go to this one room, you're pretty much on a linear path. If you try to go to another path, the game pretty much tells you you're not supposed to go here, you're supposed to go to the other room.
Yeah, like when you see something, you're like, hey, don't you want to go back to the basement and talk to Samugi? Or, you know, like
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I don't need to do anything on this floor.
I mean, I would like an option where it's like, no, I'd just like to fuck around a little bit, please, if I could.
I mean, I think that's what free time is supposed to be for.
Yeah, we'll probably
but-
get to do that.
There
more
is a
also
time
as
for
the
fucking
game goes
around,
on.
and you don't get to do it now.
So one
No,
of the...
there's a time for fucking around. There's a time for not fucking around.
Love that song. So the big important thing is that as soon as they start investigating, they're like, well, this will be easy because we'll have the photos that these trap cams have taken. And they're like, yeah. And I think the maid is like, oh yes, I'll go develop them or something like that. And Shuichi's like, yeah, when we develop these photos, we'll know for sure like who was the mastermind and who killed Rantaro. And all of a sudden, Monophony shows up by herself, the pink mono kid.
Sorry,
baby.
I forgot to mention one thing is like, Kaede is a bit surprised when Monokuma shows up to declare that Rentaro is dead, because we thought there would be a mastermind.
Yes.
We thought we'd catch the mastermind with this.
It's
And
over.
since Rantaro opened the door, we thought maybe he was the mastermind.
So now no Monokuma, and then boom, Monokuma.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of made a lot of assumptions. Because even if he was in control of, like they're making an assumption that, like, whoever is in control of the bear robots is, like, very directly in control of them, versus they just, like, program them and then release them out into the world.
Right? They're kind of expecting, well, we killed the final boss, time to go home.
Yeah. I don't know, it's weird. And there is also a moment where, like, everybody, when nobody raises their hand, they all kind of, like, start yelling at each other. And,
There's a point definitely too where like everybody like kind of thinks it's over, and I think somebody like points out like I guess Rentaro must be the but then it's like nope, Monokuma's here, so it's not Rentaro and stuff. So whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they're all aware of the first blood perk, and when nobody steps forward to claim it, then the consensus is just, oh, instead of trying to get out of the school, they must just want to stay here and kill everybody.
yeah.
I honestly was like really confused when no one stepped forward to do this, because I'm like, Shuichi, come on, we know you did it.
Yeah.
I have reasons for yeah, well, whatever. I mean, so the one thing that annoys me about investigation, this investigation, I'm gonna tell you, is almost straight away after Monophony takes the cameras away from us, right?
Yeah, so she just takes them. Like,
Yeah.
boom, they're gone.
Is that I suddenly realize how bad Shuichi's plan is. Because, so let's just say this had gone kind of according to, had gone as he had intended, right?
Right.
So at some point, the mastermind goes into that door. The sensor goes off. They have to somehow get there in time to catch them, which they probably won't because they're all the way upstairs. And then, but failing that, they have their photos, which they can't develop until probably after 10 p.m. when they're all dead.
Yes. Also, it completely ignores the mechanics of one of those disposable cameras. They're very obvious and loud. Now, granted, that is something that is covered up for with the video that's playing, but they have no way of knowing that in advance. Like, those are not subtle, like, hidden cameras. Those are real obvious.
Also, if you want to develop those, don't you have to go through the entire role first?
Uh-huh.
But I thought Miyu changed it so that they would be silent, with her huge, enormous brain.
Yeah, brain.
Yeah. Does she say that, though? I don't remember her saying that.
Does she? Or am I just having false memories?
I don't know. I was already, like, ready to write that off as, like, whatever, it works.
Yeah.
She's super awesome.
So the first thing when I think that we go into investigation mode is not about the cameras, it's about this huge fuck off drone that is flying above us immediately.
Yes.
Just like
and
you talked about.
I hate that drone because what fucks me. Well, so like my theory or last week was that somebody is gonna hide the RC helicopter from the warehouse with the shot put ball in the vent that the books are specifically blocking off so that a person couldn't crawl there, and that's how Rantaro dies, is it flies the shot put over and drops it.
Right.
And of course, the ultimate inventor could do all that. Fucking Miyu's like, hey guys, if this will help out, I made a drone to fly up and get a floor plan of the whole crime scene. Which I'm like, well, if she did it, she's not gonna come out and say, oh, by the way, everybody, I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
So,
My favorite thing about
theory
that
in
is
trash.
my favorite thing about that is that she doesn't just use just the drone and tape a camera to it. It's like completely modified, very different from the picture on the box and everything like that. It's like reinforced steel is on the drone now. She decided that she really wanted to go out in the time between we discovered Rantaro being dead and the investigation starting, which was probably about like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Right. So, we confirm for sure by examining Rantaro's body that Rantaro is not the mastermind because he does not have a key card to open, like for the key card slot open, and the card reader still has Shuichi's dust on it. So this then begs my question: what was Rantaro's plan here?
Yeah, we'll never know. I mean, they say that he probably found the hidden elevator, but yeah, we don't know. Because he had that kind of intuition. He could have intuited something about that elevator that he was supposed to forget. And we'll never know what it was. Like, just like he knew about the ultimate hunt. And nobody else understands what those keywords are, but he, like, had those for some reason.
It was like he was the ultimate intuition, but the only thing he couldn't see in the future was his own talent.
Yeah.
Or
Or
death.
like, a really obvious way to die.
It's like, what's that whistling sound in the shadow growing under my feet right now?
Oh, his death was like real Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, he's like sitting there like, oh, I'm gonna get that rascally mono bear, and then...
Like he was crossing his arms and scratching his head. Just be like, oh,
He went to hold up his yipe sign, but he couldn't find it, and that's why.
Those tiny umbrellas. What do you call it?
So Miu.
I don't think. Yeah.
So Mia's making. No jokes. We're going investigation mode only.
Go.
Miu is making an aerial view of the entire room for us, and
Yes.
we investigate his body, and then we start questioning everyone else and like, hey, why the hell were you all down here? We find out about their what do they call it?
We get alibis for everyone.
Yeah, we get alibis, but like, what was the group doing?
It was like a strategy meeting. because
Strategy.
They wanted
were-
to figure out how to
forward.
fight
Yeah.
off the mono
horde.
brigade.
yeah. Kaido assembled everyone to go downstairs, and everyone he thought could fight is who he
Yeah,
brought
so
down.
there's Gonta, Tenko.
Angie.
Himiko,
Do you want like the full
Angie,
list? The
Rentaro.
Kaito, Gonta, Maki, Tenko, Angie, Himiko, and Rentaro was the group.
Which there's
I
somebody,
remember-
there's an odd person out here. Like, obviously, Ryoma is like the guy that killed the mafia. Himiko is supposedly a mage. Gonta is like super strong. Tenko has her
Yeah,
super
they didn't
Neo
invite
Akiko.
Ryoma.
Yeah,
They
Red
didn't
was
invite
something.
That's
Ryoma?
weird.
Well, maybe they did, but he didn't go
No,
with
no.
them because
No,
he was.
Maki.
Oh yeah, right. It was
Maki
Kaito.
doesn't seem like she can
Not
fight.
Ryoma, Kaito. But then, yeah, Angie,
I mean,
where
the-
it's like, what did they expect her to do? Just like pray to Atua and then like have.
And apparently
She
that was
does know-
entirely
Literally,
what.
yeah.
That was entirely the plan, according to Kaito.
But she also knows like how to draw blood. I guess that's. I mean, she must. Right?
Oh, jeez.
So no, but like that's literally the reasoning. Is like Kaito is the one that
I just got
held
that.
the scheduling.
That's a good
Kaito-
one. You think that was her initial character like idea? Somebody was just like draw blood on a piece of paper and was like, okay, how do I make
No.
a character out of this pun?
No, I don't think that happened at all.
I'm a little ashamed I didn't get that pun when you said it. But no, Kaito's the one that did gathered everyone for that strategy meeting, and when we questioned him about like, so why Angie's like, I kind of thought her Atua powers would do something maybe.
And Himiko too, like her dumbass
Yeah.
magic powers.
I think, and my favorite part of this in a way, too, is, don't mean to stop if you want to, like, before that, is that Gonta, obviously they brought him in for his strength, but his plan, Gonta went with his own plan, which was to lock himself in the AV room and watch a movie about bugs to psych himself up for the
Yeah,
fight.
Gonta wasn't ready to fight, so he was like, oh, hold on, let me get some bug videos
Yeah.
first.
This is a lot, because then you go investigate that room and there's just porn in there.
Yeah.
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 And they
there's-
specifically
yeah.
point out that there's porn.
Yeah.
And
There's a
and,
couple things in that room.
There's no
uh,
bug videos. There's
yeah.
no bug videos to be
No,
found.
there are.
No, there
The
are,
left-hand
yeah.
bookshelf has bugs.
Oh, really?
videos.
Okay.
There's a copy of Anson.
It's porn and bugs.
Porn and bugs. What else do you need?
Well, there's
the rest of
also
your
a
life.
copy of Danganronpa Digital. Wait, Despair Girls 2, the new.
There's a
hot-
poster for
Oh, yeah,
Ultra
I
Despair
found that.
Girls 2 coming soon.
coming soon
That's
to a real video
Boy.
game store near you.
That's disappointing because that's
Not a great game.
hopefully maybe
Well,
two.
even
will
the
be
characters
hopefully.
say it looks stupid.
Oh yeah, I did like that.
That's...
I don't even know
Yeah,
what
but
is
that's-
Despair Girls.
Despair Girls was sort of like a shooter
Spin-off game.
almost spin-off game. It sort of talks a little bit about like what's happening during the events of before,
1.
during, and after the events of Danganronpa 1.
It's a third-person shooter. It's allegedly not very good. And allegedly also it's got like some kind of like problems, but like I don't really know what those are.
There's a few,
like gross things.
Yeah, the sort of like bosses are children that have like abuse that have happened to them that gets flashbacks.
Okay, let's get back to the investigation then.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I didn't know that part.
I didn't know that Zack Snyder did this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really only a game that you care about if you are like, what's the entire story of Danganronpa?
Which, yeah.
Doesn't add
Anywho,
much.
no. So, going to not only that, but interestingly, it appears there's a sliding door in the AV room, and it does not open all the way. It's stuck on something, I think.
Yeah, it's
And
like jammed
the
from
idea
being installed improperly.
You couldn't actually fit through it, but you could stick your arm out.
Yeah, Kaide's like, oh, I can stick my arm through, and Shuichi, I think, is like, I can do that too. Gonta's arms are 3 times your size!
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's also like one of those pull-down kind of like projector screens, and they kind of note there's a long pole in it. So if you wanted, you could stick your arm out with that long pole and open the sliding door to the library and see the back. And like the way it lines up, which is hard to describe in audio, but like the idea is if you were to open that sliding door, peek through, you would have been able to have seen Rantaro right in front of you, provided you were able to open the sliding door. Right.
It's a
Because he
little
would be in front of the
absurd.
bookcase.
I was thinking
How's
that was pretty absurd. I was thinking more, at this point I was thinking more that someone hid a shot put ball in that room and just sort of squeaked it open
Wait,
from the
I'm not-
outside and grabbed it.
Well, I'm not following though. What's like absurd? Just that the room layout was that?
Well,
way,
it's
or-
just like that.
It's very
that-
unlikely.
It's not absurd, it's just a lot for
I mean,
a murder.
It relies on
Maybe
lot
not
of,
a lot for a Danganronpa murder, but
Yeah, I almost feel like it's there to be like this, like 'cause it's not how it happened, but it's there to like sort of set a precedent of like something this ridiculous could happen, like in this game.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's just kind of standard, like murder mystery.
I mean,
like, thing that you
yeah,
don't know if it's a
I
red
don't
herring
see
or-
anything
you
that
know?
ridiculous right now. Like, they
Like,
wouldn't
not even
have...
an anime thing, but like, yeah, like I mean, like really standard murder mystery stuff, like, or on TV murder mysteries anyway. I mean, they just kind of
just keep dumbing it down. Just keep insulting us more about how we think this is. No.
No, that's not my
I
point
mean, I
in doing
haven't
that.
consumed a lot of mainstream murder mystery, so maybe that's why it seemed like
Okay,
kinda goofy.
yeah, this is case in point. Like, this is what happens in murder mysteries. Like, there's just, they've run out of ideas, so this is, if you watch regular TV murder mysteries, this is what they do.
Yeah, I mean,
I think, well, that's kind of the issue is, yeah, because it can't just be every week, like, and a guy got shot in an alley.
And he got
You
stabbed.
have to, like, yeah, so.
but it did seem a little bit, because people are like, oh, Gonta doesn't have anyone that can confirm his alibi. Clearly he was locked in this room, pulled open the door, had a shot put with him, opened the door from the other side with a pole, and then threw it to hit Rantaro in the head. That's
Of
Thankful.
course.
that's what they
yeah,
think.
my RC helicopter shot put idea was a lot more grounded than that one, so to speak. All right, so that's one possible. So that's another basically possible avenue of how this went down. Of course,
Right.
somehow maybe, and Gonta was the only one locked in there.
Right,
And
nobody
people
could
outside
confirm
maybe
that
could confirm that.
nobody saw what he
Yeah.
was doing in there.
Right.
Another
presumably-
person who we're trying to question in terms of like, oh, we think you might have been able to do this in some way is Tsumugi, the ultimate cosplayer, because we think she could have disguised herself as
Oh
someone.
yeah, this.
So
This is great.
Tsumugi says, no, that's not possible. It's like, no, you're the ultimate cosplayer. You can make disguises like that. Yeah, no, that's possible, but I physically can't do that. Here, let me show you. Let's go to the girls' bathroom. So Kaide and Tsumugi go to the girls' bathroom. Tsumugi's like, give me your clothes. After,
It's very gay.
after the very
Tsumugi's-
gayness of it,
Yeah.
Kaide's like, oh, right here now?
It also felt like one of those things where you're like expecting the exploitative scene of like, oh, here we two girls in underwear, here we go, and it's just like, nope.
No, it doesn't happen, and I do like that.
Yep. Yeah.
I think we see like Kaede from the back with just her bra on or something like that.
It's
but
not cheesecake
not,
up or anything. It's just like a normal thing.
It's not your standard fan servicey thing. Tsumugi is wearing Kaede's outfit and saying like, "Hi, I'm Kaede Akamatsu, the Ultimate Genius." But she is beet red, and apparently she has an allergic reaction whenever she dresses up as a real person.
It's so much.
It's called Cospox.
Cospox.
This game gets a lot of points for me for doing that, because that's fucking hilarious.
Also, that should be the name for the diseases that people come back from conventions from.
Yeah.
From now on, it should just be Cospox.
Cospox, that's good.
I got the Cospox.
I like this scene though because she kind of explains it to Kaede. It's like, look, I can't pretend to be you because that's not what cosplay is. Cosplay is bringing fictional characters to life. Otherwise, that's just a disguise.
Otherwise, it's just lying.
I feel like this is a really clever, funny way that Danganronpa is kind of setting a rule that's like Tsumugi is not going to be disguising herself as another character, because you can imagine like people thinking like, oh, well,
like that'll be every murder from here on out if you don't, put a nail in that coffin real quick.
Unless Tsumugi's pretending to be one of the Mono Cubs.
Yeah.
Wait, no, she said fictional, right?
Maybe they're fictional in her mind. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe she.
I mean, they're all fictional, so that's weird because she should be able to cosplay as Kaede then.
I think it would be a little weird if she were able to like cosplay as like the Mono Cubs, which are like something she like physically couldn't do.
But like she shrinks
Because
down.
Yeah, it's true. They are really, really small.
This kind of gets back to also like what I was talking about last week with Death Road to Despair, where it's like Danganronpa, at least with the murder mysteries, it tries to maintain some sort of physicality and groundedness, so you know what I mean? So it's not just like that person, tied up, I'm just picking this up, but like it had like 80 helium balloons and were able to float over a wall and let them go one at a time and land on a trampoline to kill the person. You know what I mean? Like it's not, or at least they try for that. So,
Danganronpa V4 coming soon.
Yeah. It's like Cospox I'm okay with, because it's just like, psst, we're not going to let, Tsugumi's not going to disguise.
Yeah.
I do have one thing to say. I have one thing to say about that, and I'm kind of making a prediction here, but there could be a time where she cosplays as somebody, but it's not that person. It's like that person in her imagination, or it's like her original character is like, it's not Kibo, it's Bleebo, who's better than Kibo.
Okay,
it's Kibo's evil twin.
I think I'll be a little disappointed in Danganronpa if they pull something like that, because I feel like this is the game signaling that like this is an avenue you don't have to think about when you're trying to solve.
I mean, I know that's probably the case, but I'm saying it might happen.
And I'm just saying that like if it does, I think I'll be disappointed.
Well, I'll be disappointed.
Right now, like
I will personally be laughing my ass off, so if that happens, I'm okay with it.
Oren Ronan's like sweating profusely listening to this. Like, oh my god, when they get to chapter 7, I'm screwed.
I'm really sad though that we're never gonna get to see Tsumugi's like cosplay powers now, like, because she can only cosplay as like copyrighted fictional characters that can't appear in the game.
No, she's just gonna cosplay characters from the other games that Spike Chunsoft owns.
Oh my god, that would be really good though.
Yeah,
anyway, I want to see her cosplay. I want to see her do it.
She's gonna be like, it is I, Byron the Pirate, from that famous game, Byron the Pirate.
Bannock the Hedgehog, that guy.
Oh my god.
Annie.
All
right, let's keep going. We got a lot tonight.
Yeah, so I think shortly after we talk about Cosplax, we get the photos back from Monophony. Looks like Shuichi is in.
Swears that she didn't cheat.
Yes, they swear up and down that we're not going to investigate, or we're not going to interrupt the investigation. This is all part of the game. We're not here for the game. We're not here to interrupt your game. Shuichi is in each of the entrance photos. his like face is like up against it, and he says that's from him setting them up, yeah, or removing them or something.
Or
like
taking them
No,
down or
he's at
something.
the end pick. He's the last pick of every camera.
Right, because you gotta set it off to take them down.
Except for the hidden door one, which is just Rantaro opening the door and Rantaro reaching to deactivate the sensor on the camera.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you, I really like the cameras here, even though I have like that issue with what was Shuichi's plan exactly, because I feel like they add a really good complicating element to the mystery. So front door the front door camera has 4 pictures, and it's pretty much Shuichi, starts with Shuichi and Kaida running in, but then it's pretty much everyone running in.
Yeah.
And the idea being it's like, this is after the murder when everyone ran inside when Shuichi yelled for them to come.
Yep.
Back door, there are 3 photos, I think?
2.
2.
Rantaro enters and then Shuichi removing the camera.
Yeah. And then secret room door is 3. One is, I think the door is open, and then one is Rantaro by the bookcase, and then the third is Rantaro reaching for the camera, not Shuichi.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We find out that Rantaro turned the security sensor off on that camera, so that's why when it was removed, it didn't take any more pictures.
Right. And with that, well, actually, technically before that, we got the bing bong, it's trial time, come to this shrine or whatever. No, come to the warehouse. And you go to the warehouse,
Yeah, that's
and that's for Monophony.
One thing that I just sort of want to note, it's not really relevant to the trial, but Rantaro had his monopad on him the entire time while he was looking at stuff.
That is interesting.
It was in his hand. It doesn't come up in the trial, but it's confusing.
It definitely made me think about access to the elevator, and like maybe you don't need a card, maybe you can connect to it with your monopad and open the door. Like that's totally possible. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very conspicuous detail, and we don't know why, but I have a feeling it's going to come into play later.
Yeah, I think there's a few of them that come up in this where you're like, oh, that's going to be important in the trial, and then it isn't. And you're like, okay, that's probably going to come up later.
So we have to go to the Shrine of Judgment. They tell us to go to the Shrine of Judgment for trial. It's the same place that we saw Angie during the prologue, with near like this waterfall, and now there is a huge beefy mono bear statue, and everyone's like, how do we get to the trial area? So if you click on the mono bear, he smashes like this. He does this beefy pose, goes into the thing, and then there's this cool cutscene, and an elevator appears basically.
Yeah, waterfall parts and the elevator comes out.
Like,
I can't really describe how
spooky.
good. Yeah, I can't describe how much I like this scene because it just looks It's sort of the epitome of Danganronpa to me. It's like, doesn't make any sense, but it's super detailed, and it's just nice.
It
I
really
like
is
it.
one of the best animated scenes we've seen so far in this game. It's like very well done.
Except the water glitches out at some point.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It's right at the end it glitches out. It's weird.
Come on, guys, get it together.
Come on, Monokuma.
Didn't they test this game before they released it?
And then
No,
we
it was
ride.
good, though. I was like creeped out, definitely, by the elevator and everything.
The elevator is super good. Because they talk about, hey, we're going down here, and one of us riding in this elevator with us is a murderer.
Yeah.
Could
And
it be?
also, we saw in the school, there was like that checkerboard door, which I think we kind of thought was going to be the trial room. But actually,
and
now that I'm
what
looking
is
at the character portraits, I think it might be Kokichi's ultimate laboratory. Because
Oh, yeah, 'cause he has, like, a
he's
checkerboard.
got the
Got that
checkerboard
scarf.
picture.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Good call. I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
So, so trial starts, and actually, I think Jim, you're the only one of us I think who had no expectations going into this, or
Correct. Totally going in blind. Had no idea what a trial would be like in this universe.
so I'm dying to hear what you think about it. I don't know if you think should somebody else describe it, or do you want to or what? I have no plans. I came co.
Do I want to give my big overarching opinion on it right away, or do I want to?
Oh, all right. I'll tell you what. I'll try to describe it for those at home. If you've never seen a Danganronpa trial,
yeah, let's just describe it in general, and then we'll go through what everyone talked about and what we covered in the trial.
The way Phoenix Wright and things kind of like it work is you get testimony, which is advancing dialogue boxes that you, the player, advance. And when you find one that you say maybe you can contradict it or something, you'll present evidence and you'll hit that dialogue box. Danganronpa makes kind of an action game out of this. And what happens is the 16 students are at podiums in sort of a circle. Monobear and Monokuma and the Monocubs are like kind of on a stage above them in a way, like above them to the back. And what happens is the camera sort of starts in the center of them and pans around each one, and then it'll start panning to different ones who are talking. It's called nonstop debate. This time, instead of you advancing the text, it just goes on its own on a timer, and the words that they're saying are captioned on screen and moving around. And the idea is some of them are highlighted orange or blue, and you can use the evidence you've collected as what's called truth bullets, where you aim a cursor at these things and can refute them or agree with them by firing the right evidence at the right thing that's said. It's very actiony. I like it a ton. I love it, love it, love it. Then Danganronpa ups the ante by adding these really shitty mini games.
Yep.
And I wish they didn't.
So I'm going to jump in. This is my biggest problem with the process. I really enjoyed the idea of, hey, we're going to make this an active participation thing, because it isn't just, hey, do you remember this fact to dispute this argument? It's while you're being distracted, you have to make an effort to do two things at once, right? So now that you're being distracted about this whole active thing, and then you have to remember facts, and then you have to be able to incorporate them. So, but then they don't have the gameplay mechanics and the tech to back up the additional layers they want to lay on.
Yeah,
There's
so
certain-
the shooting bullets section, they let you go through that, multiple times without really any consequence. It can sort of loop through the dialogue. And so your first time through it, you might be like, I don't know what truth bullet I'm going to do to refute this argument, but you can rewatch it and be like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense after.
Now,
and you can open up the menu to look at it. There's also skills and all of that you don't need to be going into, but...
There's and one thing that it does differently too than Phoenix Wright or whatever is that you don't, even though you have all this evidence you've collected during investigation, you don't get all of it at once. No. They give you 3 to 5, depending on difficulty level, truth bullets, and they'll say these are pertinent to the discussion you're about to have, and that's how you pick it. What I like is kind of like you said, it's more like a debate than a trial room, and you can have things happen where people are derailing and stuff, and you have to figure out how to do that. And they have cool things there, I don't love the gameplay way they chose it per se, but or how should I say it? So something that can happen is somebody can do their own little objection thing, meaning that hold on a second, and you have a one-on-one debate with them, which is kind of geared around a sword fight, and I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but I like that element of it's not just one person who's the quote unquote lawyer. Kaida is not just the hero fighting off all these people. It's they all have their own opinions and reasons to try to find the killer and their own kind of thought processes.
Right. Karumi kind of lays it out at the beginning where it's okay, we are all acting as prosecutor, judge, and jury. We are all trying to figure out who this killer is, and we all have to have the same goal, because otherwise all of us are going to die. So it's everybody's working together except for whoever did the murder.
And another thing I like, which is new to Danganronpa 3, is there's this thing now where people start arguing at once, and there's going to be 3 lines of conversation happening simultaneously.
Mass panic debate.
That's it. And you actually have to kind of watch all 3 to figure out which one to focus on and refute or agree with.
I really like that it's like a real action game where basically the flow of the not the mass debate, but continuous debate is, it shows you
something else.
Yeah. It shows oh wow. It shows you basically a series of little cutscenes where it's okay, this character says something, this character said something, and it loops on that basically for around 3 or 4 minutes to give you time to solve it. but like the words can appear in different places. They can be tilted. They can be rolling. There could be stuff.
They can be moving.
Yeah,
right?
there could be stuff.
Yeah,
called
sometimes
white
like
noise.
they'll even change like how it moves based on like the verb or action that is
Like
happening in the
rolling will
sentence.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the word rolling's there. Yeah.
And there's stuff called
Or,
white
like-
noise with that. It literally serves no function other than to just shoot down and get a little bit extra time back.
It's usually like some little phrase like, yeah, that's right, or that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of moving in front of the target. And, you
And
have
it's
to,
also
you can,
wrong, so you should shoot it.
Yeah.
So
You should
my
shoot with a silencer.
Yeah.
A special firing mode, which is a different button than the truth bullet mode.
the cutest thing about the white noise is that sometimes you can tell who exactly is saying it.
Yes.
Because
Like you'll see like who fucking knows. It's like,
it's
oh,
like
you.
yeah, it's me. And it's like Gonta doesn't understand. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
Oh, I want to say something. There's one point where Miyu is saying something and she's kind of scared, and she's got her normal text that she has, but then above that there's like white noise in like a little font, like a smaller font, and it
Yeah.
says, "I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the tiny death that brings oblivion."
Oh, nice!
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
Dune stuff. Nice.
That's really cool. I didn't
Missed
notice
that one.
Yeah, it's like you gotta
I
look,
did
but
too.
it's like a different font than the rest of the game, and it's tiny, but it's above her like regular text.
Me
So-
versus Spice.
the other minigame that is in this trial, the Hangman's one is in this trial, right?
Gambit.
I
Yeah,
don't
the
know what
Hangman's
that is.
Gambit.
Hangman's Gambit.
That
Oh,
one
wait, I
was
remember
Like
that.
that might get better later, but that was real obvious in this one.
It's like, so, yeah, I think specifically this one, it's like, they're like, what's the thing that something could have fit through? And the answer would be vent. I forget exactly, like, what the setup
It
for it
is.
is,
That's
but it's
exactly
like,
what it is. And all you see are VEN and TSs.
yeah, and it's like, come on, Danganronpa, why?
They even gave
Yeah,
that to
did
you
they
on
do the-
hard difficulty mode.
Yeah.
I don't
And-
like how the light is only in the middle and you have to press the button. Oh god, it just reminded me of like a bad Flash game.
There's
Yeah.
no reason.
Yep.
And I really feel like maybe they felt like nonstop debate and even those like variations we discussed weren't enough and they wanted to break up like what maybe they felt was like monotony, but it really just got in the way.
I feel like
Yeah.
asking people to spell a word is also like not great. Like
I have a
I
question.
don't know. Like I feel like almost
I-
like from a I don't know. It feels like the wrong type of thinking. Like you're in kind of one thinking mode, and now like all of a sudden you're doing a crossword puzzle, and it's like, oh, I was in my like deductive
Yeah.
reasoning mode, and now I'm in my like word spelling baby mode.
I feel like Danganronpa has always had this, like every entry in the series, well, outside of the spin-off, but like has had these like little extra court mini games that they don't fit with the rest of the gameplay, and they're just kind of like, I don't really, it's like, what are you going for? Like, just keep it this way. Like Phoenix Wright, there is no mini game at all, and it still works. Like you can have more confidence in nonstop debate. It's fun on its own.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is kind of tense, like, yeah, maybe because I was on hard, but like, you do have enough time to review the conversations a few times, but it is like something where you have to go like, God, I gotta think about this fast.
Yeah,
You
on
know?
normal, honestly, like I was never in any danger of not
Yeah.
getting it.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I
literally,
gave
my
up.
biggest frustration on normal was just like a mechanic that wouldn't work. Like, oh, I know what I knew from the beginning what the thing was, and I'm shooting it, but it's not quite hitting right. Like you
Yeah,
do that
that
like 3
happened for
times,
me a lot.
and you still have like 2 minutes left when you solve it. But in the moment, you're like, this is so freaking frustrating. I shouldn't have wasted 2 minutes on this. But you never get close
You know
to
you-
the end.
You know you can fast forward, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Even,
Okay,
but
yeah.
even when you do it, sometimes like that window is small enough where like if the game is getting janky, that's when you're like, oh come on, like I hit it.
Yeah, there were some
Like,
points
honestly-
where I had to do it like 2 or 3 times because I had the right truth bullet, I knew the right phrase, but I couldn't hit it.
Yeah, and like it wasn't just missing it. It's like you're like, come on, like I saw where the rectangle was going. Like I'm pretty sure like this is like if I was in a first person shooter, this definitely would have landed.
It was a lot like an arcade cabinet shooter. But
Yeah.
honestly, there were too many buttons, and I can't believe I'm saying this about a video game, considering the type of games that I like, which are either visual novels or impossibly hard, like roguelikes. but there were too many buttons and too many things that I could do, and I could not remember them. And as soon as you show me a static controller diagram with arrows pointing to the buttons and what that button does, I'm like, this is an Xbox Live indie game, and my eyes slide right off of it.
Yeah, me too.
And I did not absorb any of the controls except for like the basic ones.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I do every time.
Yeah. So there's another.
Wait, there's one more thing about trial mechanics I want to mention, which I like a lot too, because I'm very immature. So you can also use evidence to agree with people, right? And when you counter them, you get this like kind of like objection kind of thing from Phoenix, right? But it's Kaida, and she's like something like hold it, or that's wrong. I think, right?
That's wrong.
Yeah,
That's not right. or
but
something.
if you agree, she'll say like that's right. And then they'll show her and then the other character, and they have this little smile, and it says, consent!
Everyone,
It's really good.
whenever you consent with someone, they look so happy, and I love it.
It looks like they're... And I'm like, oh, are they going to have sex
Yeah,
now?
it
I
really does look
really,
like that.
I really
It
want
does
this
look like that.
exact same screen in a visual novel where you have sex. Like, oh my god.
Right? Yeah.
I must have been the
Oh my
only
God,
person that
an
did not go the
active
sex
dating
route.
sim? We need an
Yeah.
active dating sim where you're just like, oh, nope, defended. Oh well, going home.
Yeah, like, God, I don't know. I bought Lady Killer in a Bind, but I actually haven't played it, even though it's been a fucking year, and that consent screen is like my conception, my conceptualization of what playing that game is gonna be like.
Always
One
ask
more
So-
thing I want to bring up about the non-stop debate, and this is really cool, and I don't know if I would be able to do this, but apparently you can agree with somebody or you can lie. And
Yes!
Did
And-
anybody try to lie any other times, or can you
well,
not in this one?
apparently the game says that could be a way to beat the trial called a backdoor mode, which is to
Yep.
only lie.
No, that's
Well,
not,
I like
I don't
the
think that's
opportunity.
right.
Well,
Yeah,
so it's
there's-
not always
That's
lie.
really interesting.
I
No,
don't think it's
basically-
what it says.
I think, no, it's not like always. It's like there's an alternate path, is how I
If
thought
you
it worked for this trial.
Which is
Yeah,
it's
it's not the whole
not
time.
something I expected in a game like this, because usually you're always trying to get to the truth and figure things out, but
Yeah.
these things happen where it's like, okay, we're at a deadlock, we can't figure stuff out, so let's just add something into the pot to shake stuff up and see if maybe we can get somewhere from there.
I like it a lot. Lie bullets. Yeah.
Lie bullets are super neat. You basically hold down the shoot button to do it, and you can do this at pretty much any time after they introduce the mechanic. I think I guess I didn't read the same parts you did, but I thought there was only one part in the trial where it's actually applicable. I didn't know that. I will have
When
to
else
try
can
that
you
out.
lie?
Yeah.
We don't know, honestly.
But,
I talked to Urin about this, and Urin told me that, like, honestly, the problem with the back routes is they are pretty hard to find. So,
Okay.
like,
So we're gonna like watch speedrunners do it, like an AGDQ.
no,
Like,
they're
oh,
going to be
here's the
doing
perfect
Death Road to
liar.
Despair, baby. No,
I'll have to check that out. But the cool thing about it is once you basically put a bullet into lie mode, also it has a really cool effect on the screen where there's like these purple eyes are like staring at you and all that. That it would be very awesome in a like survival horror setting. But also it changes the bullet to say like basically the opposite of what it originally said. So
Yeah.
it said gone to an AV room, and then it would say gone to not an AV room. And I've gotten to the habit now of just anytime I start up a new like debate section to just like see what each of the live versions of each bullet is, because some of them are kind of a little bit funny.
Like the
It's
moving
like-
bookcase would turn into the immobile bookcase.
Yeah, and it's like
in the
we're locked in the school. Like we can leave at any time.
in the demo in the demo version, the specific lie in the tutorial Kaidi has to do is that there's character Makoto, who's from the previous game, and he was alone. And Kaida is thinking like, I know Makoto didn't do it. I just believe in him enough. But everyone's thinking he did that. So when you do that, the lie becomes Makoto's with me. And when she shoots down that argument, she's like, no, Makoto wasn't by himself. I totally forgot. He was with me the whole time. And in the demo they're like, yeah, nice try, Kaida, that was an obvious lie, and then it's just, it's like, okay, well that should have worked.
Yeah, well here too, where it's like, okay, you didn't sound that sure about what you just said, so we're just gonna have our own kind of one-on-one section here where we try to prove that you're lying.
I really like this because, like, as soon as you lie, Kokichi, the basically ultimate liar, is like, is this how we're gonna play?
Yeah.
You think I can't see a
I
lie?
like it.
But,
But it
so
also
there...
made me think, like, why lie in the future? If Kokichi's there, like, who's best at lying? Like, isn't he just gonna call us out every time?
I don't know.
Unless he finds it
We'll find
entertaining.
No, unless he's the actual killer.
And that's the thing, by the way, I don't think we mentioned too, like, Kokichi's thoughts on this before trial starts is he's still fucking around, and he's like, oh yeah, I killed Rentaro, I was totally bored. You know what I mean? And then he's like, nah, I'm just lying and stuff. So, even when the stakes are like this, he's still...
Kokichi is a super interesting character. I like him because he just throws a wrench into everything anyone says to see what...
Yeah.
He mixes the pot to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, I feel like this is
which-
going to be a theme that's kind of brought back as the game goes on, because I like the idea of you can't get to the truth by just being honest. Sometimes you just have to shake something up, otherwise you'll get stuck and you won't be able to go anywhere.
It's a pretty... Yeah, I like it.
So the last new mechanic I think that is introduced is the basically team debates.
I hate this one.
I love this one. You're wrong. And we'll debate it now.
Oh, what was it? A split decision? Split opinion?
Yeah.
Split
This is
opinion.
not- no.
So this I think is new to Danganronpa V3. You basically have this
It is.
sort of cutscene where basically the teams are split in half, and one team will start saying stuff at you, and you have to pick out a keyword from a list of what they're saying.
I'm kind of with Jim
counterpoint.
on this one, where it's like, it feels like I'm playing a Sesame Street game. It's like,
Here's
match the
like-
subject
yeah.
with the verb.
It's like, and the idea is you hit the keyword, and then someone on your team counters that, and then it kind of goes down the list. So basically, like, it might start with going to thing like, go into not in room, and one of the things you can pick is the word room. And then if you click room, Kaida might yell out, like,
Anyone could have
Kyo.
been in the room.
yeah, and Kyo will jump in, like, anyone could have been in that room. Then it'll go to the next person in the team, and then Kaida, you know what I mean? And it's like, I guess I could say I like what they're going for in terms of, like, maybe like a kind of Sentai team sort of thing. Like, let's all together and, like, kind of debate this. But
So the reason I like this is not so much the gameplay, which is basically a word search, find out the keyword in this thing, but I do like this sort of thematically and how it's presented visually, because it normally when you play a Danganronpa, it's you versus either the rest of the trial or another person. Now it's involving other people who are on your side, who are actually presenting arguments against someone else. So when Kyo is saying, really, any of us could have been in the room, there are other characters that have stakes in this, I guess.
Generally what I like, and because I think in the first game they had this issue where you had like 2 or 3 characters who are really the quote unquote smart ones who are arguing this, and then everyone's just kind of like derailing things. And I think 2 and V3 do a better job of like incorporating all the students together, even if they're wrong or even if they're not like the brightest, I guess you could say. Like, it does feel a little more active and dynamic and stuff. I don't know. I just don't like this one. I feel like the gameplay element of it is so ridiculously easy, where it's like, what word out of this list is in this sentence? Oh, did you miss it because you had a couple seconds? You get another shot at it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get all 5 but not in a row? Let's do it again. And it's like,
The implementation of the mechanic probably kills the actual story-wise theme of the mechanic, because it's
Yeah, I guess if I could just hide the puzzle, hide the HUD, and just like watch these people debate, I would just like it, because it's like basically it's a cutscene for me that I think is super interesting.
Or if you
Yeah.
just made it like, hey, you need to remember that Gonta's word is alibi, and like, you know, so and so's word is this, and then you have to like put forward your player to be like, oh, I'm playing this player again, like this card against your card, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking about how this could have been better. Yeah.
Or like ironically, kind of like a game like Mastermind, if you like tried to switch around who argues with who, and it's like three people are winning that somehow. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Try to find the pattern by guessing. You only have so many guesses.
Yeah, it's just because this is really just like I said.
This is an interesting one for me because I feel like all of the other little mini games like had a story purpose, but they felt bad. And this one feels good to play, but it doesn't have much of a story purpose at all.
Could it be that maybe?
Like change.
Could it be that something's lost in translation? Maybe the words in Japanese where it's like they have double meanings or something, where it's a little harder.
I forgot I wanted to mention that. Hangman's Gambit, I do wonder maybe that works a little better in Japanese.
Oh yeah, I would think
I'm
so.
pretty sure it does.
Yeah.
I mean, so I still don't know exactly why, outside of like, well, it's a syllabary, so it's not as easy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as easy to figure out the word. But then I'm like, I don't know about that.
Well, no, because I mean, the word vent probably is like could be much simpler than 4 letters.
Well, but the thing is, though, it could also, like, I don't know if it's like, yeah, you're right about that, actually, yeah. Because, like, in other games, too, in other Danganronpa games, they'll do a thing where you have to, like, hit a letter, but it'll be, like, 2 letters at a time instead of 1, and you're like, oh, I get it. It's like, they couldn't really fit it right, or it didn't look good in English. Whatever.
Yeah, like Fruit Ninja, that stuff.
Yeah. There's one mini game that's also really awful. Actually, there's 2 good. Well, there's 2 ending mini games, which we'll probably talk about at the end of the trial.
Yeah, we'll get
one
to
of
that
them,
at the end.
Yeah, one I like and one I hate. But anyway.
We should probably start talking about the actual arguments that people make.
So
yes.
I enjoy this because it feels like how you should normally approach the trial. How we sort of go through this is people just sort of start off like, hey, here's who I think could have done it, and we sort of one by one remove suspicion off people. So the first one is Miyu, Kyo, and Tsumugi. We remove suspicion from their various alibis.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just stuff like
pretty much stuff we've already talked about. Yeah.
Like so and so's alibi bails out Miyu and all this kind of stuff. Good, like Gonta stuff, and then we're like, oh, but the door was open when, you know, Rentaro died, so like there's no sight line from that little sliding door.
Right, and there's something else that they didn't even mention, which could have been neat, but if a shot put ball was thrown from the AV room to the library, there would be a picture of it.
Right. But it couldn't even make it to the library because there was the wall. Well, it could have made it into the library, but there was a wall blocking it from hitting.
Right. It wouldn't have hit
That
Rantaro.
does feed into right. That does feed into the actual, like, a good piece of evidence that comes up in these games, which is that Miyu acknowledges that there's a 30-second delay on the cameras.
Yeah.
And
So this is
Shuichi
something that
knew
was only Shuichi and Miyu knew that, and Shuichi neglected to tell us. And then we get an intermission, actually, as soon as we learn that, where it's a Monokuma and Cubs theater, and it's pointless as usual, but a little bit of fun.
Yeah, so at that point, we are all, like we were at the end of the last episode, I think everybody's on this kick, like, oh, Shuichi, we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. At some point in the trial, Shuichi starts acting very strange. He doesn't say anything. It's not looking very good for him.
And he comes under suspicion at some point, I think, too.
Yep.
I forget exactly why. Like, he didn't have... Maybe because he was downstairs
It's
by
specifically
himself.
because he set up the cameras with a 30-second interval, and he forgot to tell us that.
That's right.
So potentially
So-
somebody who knew the intervals could have, within that time period, 30 seconds to kill somebody and then get out.
And then we acknowledge he wasn't with us the whole time.
Yeah, that was... but we do lie for him and say that we were holding on to the beeper.
So the thing is, yeah, with that is like he's not answering, even when they're like, "Shuichi, why didn't you tell us any about that?" He's just not saying it. He's almost like lost in thought. So Kaede is like, "Oh my god, everybody thinks it's Shuichi."
Kaede's like,
I just know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, me
know
too, though. Why do I have to lie? It's him.
Yes,
It's him.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree.
Um,
Like, it did make narrative sense for us to lie for Shuichi at that point. We should be like, wait, everybody's a suspect. We can't discount this.
I was sort of on the same ball, but there was there's eventually this goes on for a while, and they mentioned that they sort of talk about how Rantaro walked over to the secret door camera, and there was only one reason why he could have done that is because he noticed the camera. And the only reason he could have noticed the camera is if the flash was on.
And I noticed that like right away when we first saw the pictures, and I was like, why was the flash on, or is that just the art style? So I was like really vindicated when that like came back
I
around.
actually did not catch
Right.
that the first time around.
Yeah, because if you look at Shuichi, when the pictures of him when he's close to the camera, it's noticeably darker than when Rintaro does.
It doesn't even focus on them. Yeah.
So we're asked who could have set up the flash. I'm going, Shuichi. This fucker did it. But the correct answer is actually Kaede.
She
And
set
once
up that camera.
once we do that, we are treated with a very interesting scene. Does anyone else want to describe that?
Well, this whole time, Kaede has been, like, on the elevator ride down and stuff, she's like, don't
Yeah.
be afraid to reveal the truth when you
Yeah.
figure it out. And there's, like, everybody else goes away, and it's just Kaede and Shuichi, and she's, like, talking to him very gently this whole time, and she's like, you know what the truth is, don't you?
You knew this whole time.
You knew. You figured it out, that's why you stopped talking, because you figured out the truth, and you can't be afraid to reveal the truth.
Yeah, Shuichi, reminder, is afraid of getting to the truth because when he did, something
Right.
really bad happened to him, and now he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Exactly.
And the weird thing is, like, the game sets it up so, like, when I was going through this segment, I was like, well, I guess the only person left is Kaede, but hold on a second, they can't do that, because there's so many other problems with this.
I thought you were going to
Turns
say,
out-
because I love Kaede too much, you can't do that to her. It's like, no, because this is stupid bullshit.
Because her plan would be stupid then.
This game is fake.
But, folks, think we're done
So-
beating around the bush enough. It was Kaede.
Yeah.
She did it.
Did
She killed
Did anyone-
Rantaro.
Did anyone besides me know ahead of time?
No.
No.
Okay.
What do you mean know ahead of time?
So
Oh,
now
yeah.
here's where I get to call out somebody on Twitter.
Yeah, let's get out the soapbox.
Before I play this game or whatever, I won't really say their name. It's not a big deal. They're
No,
like,
we're gonna say your name,
Oh,
bitch. We're
dude,
gonna
I'm
call
mad,
you
but it's
on
not a big deal. It's
No,
not a
I'm-
big deal,
I'm-
I swear.
Oh, okay. No.
I'm friendly with the guy or whatever. So, but just in case.
Oh, that means you should totally call him
somebody-
out. We're gonna go
somebody-
smack him around.
Somebody tweeted out basically like, "Wow, I'm already through like chapter 1 of Danganronpa, and I'm really impressed with like what was it, like the things they're doing with the narrative." Basically, there was some comment that was like a big narrative shift, and I'm like, well, what could they do in chapter 1 outside of maybe like kill off the protagonist? Then before Visual Novel Book Club, before we started, Oren told me like, "Hey, listen, you probably want to get them through chapter 1 as fast as possible because there's a big spoiler there." And I'm like, well, there it is. So that's also, for my little lie bullet, by the way, why we're reading such big fucking chunks of this game. Because I did want to get through that as fast as we could.
I prefer the
spoiled
bigger
on that.
chunks anyways. This is
Yeah,
a big
but-
game.
I'm kind of hooked, yeah.
So,
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So, wait, can I just actually explain on something else then, too?
sure.
You can hear me lying a couple of times in episode 2.
If
Oh
you
my
go
God,
back and
this-
listen,
Slow
No,
beat is
'cause-
Kaede.
I did this thing where I'd be like, I really like Kaede's narrative arc, that, like, she kind of lost the group's trust and she kind of has to gain it back. As I'm talking, I'm thinking, don't lay it on too thick, and you'll hear me kind of, like, stammer, like, yeah, you know, okay. So I was, like, listening back to editing where I, like, kind of, like, I go, yeah, you know what I mean.
Oh my
like, I just
God.
kind of like cut off there because I don't want to like.
Now
I feel like if I
our
stood too long
viewers
on
can
it,
replay episode 1 and get all the hints of Sloviv was
You'll
really,
only
really
hear
all
it.
along.
you'll only hear it with ad block off though. It's the weirdest thing. In fact, you'll hear it all throughout Ever 17. In fact, all my videos on my channel.
If you play
It's
them all
weird.
back,
It's this whole ARG that you
So-
really just gotta get into.
Finally.
But the way I thought it would go down is I thought Kaide would be the first victim. So whenever Shuichi left her alone to go downstairs, I'm like, I'm gonna get stabbed in the back. I'm gonna get stabbed in the back. Oh no, this is it. And then it didn't. Rentaro's dead. Then I'm thinking maybe I've got it wrong. And I'm like, maybe there really is no trial because of the first blood perk. So I'm like, I know it's Kaide, but I'm looking for outs that maybe I'm wrong about it. So it's like, Miyu with it.
So even after we're like, oh, it's Kaede, I'm still like, yeah, it's Shuichi. We actually, there's a neat little scene where the protagonist shifts from Kaede. They're sort of
Yep.
mentally talking to one another. Whatever.
Yeah.
But we switch protagonists from Kaede to Shuichi. We're playing as him now. And I'm still like, but Shuichi did it!
Me too.
But so immediately after Kaide's like, Shuichi, you have to reveal the truth and whatever. And Shuichi gets his resolve back. Kaide's like, just kidding. There's no way I could have done this. So we actually have to argue with her a bit before we can complete the trial. She doesn't just say, hey,
yeah,
I did
really,
it.
I really like
and there's
how they
there's
did
some
this,
reasoning for that.
because she kind of puts it forward as like, well, the culprit is really me, and then afterwards it's like, no, I'm just kidding, because of these reasons I couldn't have done it. And then she kind of turns to Shuichi and is like, isn't that right, Shuichi? That's why I couldn't have done it, right? Just like giving him the chance to be like the detective.
There's that, and then I do like kind of toward the end. There's even people who are like, I just can't believe this could be Kaede, and Shuichi has to kind of convince them to, you know what I mean?
I really like, as much as it annoys me that Kaede is the murderer and like the way that she executed her murder was kind of dumb. I really like this character interaction where she, knowing that she's going to die, has decided that she's going to spend the last moments of her life making sure that Shuichi is strong enough to hopefully survive this. I thought that was really powerful and good.
I liked it, but it felt weird because it's. Let's describe how Kaede actually did this, because this was actually sort of impressive from her end.
What was that little dismissive?
The way she
Because
done the
impressive
murder.
not the
There's a
word.
bunch of holes in her.
Because there's no way it should have actually worked if like
No.
if you're actually a forensic analysis and you come across this scene, you're like, what the fuck? This worked? Let me buy a lottery ticket.
Well, I'm pretty sure the
Unless she
whole
knows a lot
robot
of
bear
shit
thing
that
shoots
she
holes in
shouldn't.
that.
Yeah.
So her plan is that when they're setting up the cameras, Kaede makes a big deal about moving around the books, trying to fit the hidden camera room on top of the books. She's moving there on the ladder. One like little touch I do like is at one point Shuichi's under the ladder and she's like, "Are you looking at my unmentionables?" When she's like, "Oh no way," which you kind of play as like, "Oh, that's Danganronpa being like cute and pervy," but it's also kind of a neat way of like, "Don't look at what I'm doing."
Yeah, don't look too carefully. I'm just arranging
so
books.
She sets up a book ramp, meaning like kind of like step downs from the vent all the way over to where Rentaro's going to end up, and hides it with like books. The only way you get there to see it is with Miyu's aerial shot. So she puts books in front of it to hide this little stair stepping thing. Her plan is, correct me if I'm wrong here, when she's duct taping the camera in place, she duct tapes the flash on. The thinking being the mastermind is going to walk up to the bookcase, the flash will go off, the sensor goes off, and then she'll drop a shot put from classroom A above through the vent when the sensor goes off, such that the mastermind will walk over to the camera with the flash, go to take it away or just at least get close to it, look at it. Shot put ball will travel over all the little book ramp down onto their head.
Yep.
And strangely, and she could not have known this
Yep.
would happen, with 1 hour to go, Vano Bear's 1 hour till everyone dies video plays really loud, so Rentaro can't hear the shot put ball rolling and dropping onto his head.
Right, and here's a bigger point, right? Vents that go into rooms in a big multifunctional facility are not ramped. They're not made to just roll into to just decline into other rooms. Like, there's a way these things work, and they aren't on an angle. Like,
Yeah,
that's
now
not how
that you
vents
bring it up, even if it were to hit like a semi-flat surface, it's a shot put ball. It's gonna put a huge dent into whatever it hits and just sink and stop.
Sit there.
Yeah,
Like,
I
there's
looked it up
no
and
way this
shot
works
footballs
in
are
any
16
way.
pounds. So 16 pounds. If it fell like from one floor to another floor, it could have like punctured the vent, right? Like those air ducts aren't
easily.
very solid.
Not
Yeah,
at
if you've
all.
ever, yeah.
Now,
How
okay,
would she
and you
know this?
Unless it's like
Now
a
let's
steel
say-
air vent or something.
But why
Let's
would you
say
make
she-
it rid of steel? None of this
Let's say-
works. None of it works.
Let's say somehow
Okay.
it works,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Somehow
suspension.
it
There you go.
bounces off the side, gets a little forward momentum, doesn't puncture the vent, manages to kind of roll. It goes down from classroom A, bang, and out front. It's on its book ramp now. Somehow the 16-foot ball coming out in front hits books and hits them like a wall. It doesn't push books out of the way, even though it's a big, heavy, moving ball.
And
Whatever.
books don't dampen the momentum, right? So it
Right.
doesn't make it go real slow.
No, now it's like stair-stepping. Rentaro presumably is like, I can't pull this camera off. There's just too much tape. And it's just doing it with one hand over and over while this fucking Marble Madness ass shot football is just happens to be there and then rolls off the shelf in literally the spot that, well, it has to hit him dead on.
Yeah, it could have hit his shoulder, it could have hit his head wrong. There are a lot of ways that he could have survived that and just been really badly hurt.
I had a head injury similar to this where I was very unlucky and a fucking tree branch whacked me in the head from high up. And you know what happened? It actually did get me dead on, except it glanced off my skull. Like, there's no real way you can guarantee that if you drop something on someone, it will for sure kill them. This
Also, if
plan
you look
sucks.
at the injury, he's like the back of the head. Why the hell was he staring down at the camera? What the fuck was this guy doing?
And or like everything was wrong. And like, how do you do this where it's like, I know the timing is gonna be such that when that sensor goes off, if I can just drop this down the vent, it'll take just the amount of time the mastermind needs to go, what's that camera? Like a fucking Metal Gear guard, walk over and drop onto him.
And also,
I-
also, he's down there with the door, and then, you know, a place where he's not supposed to be, and then this really loud-ass music starts playing, and he's just gonna stay there. He's not gonna, like, run or anything, or think he's in any kind of danger. He's just gonna stay there.
And then he's gonna be like, oh, is that a camera? Let me check that out during this loud-ass music. Well, I'm going to a place I shouldn't be, and I'm not gonna actually investigate that much. I'm gonna just stare at this camera for a while. No,
The
you
only thing
dumbass,
that-
you look up!
The only thing I could say is it's possible that the mastermind would see the camera and go, oh shit, I'm gonna get caught, I gotta take that down. But still, you can't know the timing would ever work out. For all you know, that person walks up to that camera, snatches it off the wall, walks right back to where they were, and a shot put ball drops out from under them after improbably rolling there in the first place.
Or just
Yeah.
runs away. Like a normal person, just runs away. Like, oh, I'm gonna get caught as a mastermind, I'm running away.
Now, let's not forget, in order to reveal why Kaida did this, her motive, which he kind of hinted at inadvertently, you have to play a rhythm game. I don't know why.
I really like this, except it does. I do actually really like this because it's very stylized and it's a bit fun. The buttons never work correctly for me.
Yeah, the buttons
Oh,
are like
good, I'm
off
glad
the
that wasn't
rhythm.
just
They
me.
don't match the
Very
rhythm.
jank. Nope.
But what I do like about it is it presents this sort of this big stylized portrait of the character that I guess in other trials you're meant to like break them down. But it's like for her, she's got this huge flowing dress with like piano keys and music notes and all kind of like an end boss or something.
And,
Yeah.
And like a mask.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
And then as you start winning the mini game, you get to rip her clothes off. It's awesome. No, I mean, it's ridiculous.
What's
It's
that
a little
scene in
much for
Police Nuts?
Danganronpa. It's kind of like in Police Nuts. No, It's
I'll tell you what though, the rhythm is very similar like to Parappa, where the rhythm isn't actually the game. It's like you got to figure out the rhythm on its own. You're like, oh, boop 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 boop. That's the rhythm you got to figure out. It's like it's not attached to like the visual cues or the audio cues. It's just kind of like you're like, oh, I know the thing.
That's
Bop,
what I
bop,
hit.
bop,
It's like there's this constant
here's-
clapping sound that you're assuming, oh, I have to get it in time with the clapping sound. But no, the clapping sound is just like background noise, and you have to like go by the visual cues.
Oh, would you like to know another annoying thing about this minigame is Kaida is saying something during the rhythm section that she'll repeat over and over and over
It is a
again.
bit
She
annoying.
will. Yeah.
And then this is what kills me. At the end, you get like the four Xbox input buttons of like X, Y, A, B, and there's 4 words, and the words are kill, master, the mind. And the question is like, what was Kaide trying to do?
That's
And
pretty dumb.
I lost the game because I was giving the screen the finger.
Wait a minute. If you get that wrong, do you actually lose the game?
No,
You
it's
go
even
ba-
worse.
No, you go back one. You go back one. And
She regains health that you have to keep doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. All right, this is what really does fuck. I really did lose this, and I'll tell you why. I have a Wii Pro controller. X and Y and A and B are switched, which means you see the cross configuration on the screen. I go, oh wait, shit, it's not like that. Oh
No,
god,
no,
X
no.
B.
Wait,
And
what do you use your Wii Pro controller to play games on your computer for? What the hell are you doing?
Because no, there's a thing I have called a Mayflash, and it lets you take one USB slot and have 4 multiplayer remote or wireless controllers on one shot.
This
That's why,
podcast brought
motherfucker.
to you by Mayflash.
I forget
But,
that's even
but
the name
what?
of it.
What? That only allows you to use the Wii Pros, though?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's weird. I might want to get one for like. All right. So, Kaida's plan is basically, she's go all along with Shuichi's plan until she hears about the second motive, which is if you don't kill somebody doesn't die by 10 o'clock, everybody dies. So that's when she gets the plan that she's gonna kill the mastermind.
Yeah,
Apparently,
she's like, well, even if we out him the hour before it happens, they're still at a risk for Monobear just fucking killing us.
Mhm.
Where there's no way he's gonna fess up and not.
Yeah, you
know,
could just play
kill us
dumb.
all before then. So
Now-
let's just off him. Pow pow.
now
And I think there's a good bit where I think it's even Kichi who says it. He's like, as soon as you had the thought that you had to kill someone, then Monokuma already won.
So, I also want to point out yet another problem with what a bad planner Kaida is.
Is it
Had
supposed
she
to
told-
make her tragic? Like, is it supposed to make her more tragic? I feel like the devil's
Actually,
advocate argument is that it's supposed to make it even more tragic because it's so unlikely for this to have actually worked, and because it did,
Oh,
that's
no.
why she had to die.
No. I think the tragic part is honestly that she trusted in Shuichi. That
Yeah.
it's like this is like gonna catch the mastermind, and she's like, he's right, and I can use this to kill the mastermind, and it's kind of Shuichi's fault. Is that? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh wait, okay, all right. No, I'll play lawyer for Shuichi here. Had Kaida, so this is problem one with Kaida's plan. Had Kaida said to Shuichi, I think I'm gonna kill the mastermind, Shuichi could have countered, no, you gotta be careful. Other people don't know this plan. You might get one of them with the flash.
Yes.
And that would, this whole thing could have been
Yes.
avoided.
100%.
But
That is the biggest
Shuichi was
problem.
extremely
No!
confident that this would get the mastermind.
Excuse fucking me, by the way. No, that's not the biggest problem with all of this. You know what the biggest problem with all of this is? Ahem. All right, whoever wants to invoke the first blood perk, please step forward. Okay, it's Kaida. I did it. I was trying to kill the mastermind. I'm going to go get help now.
They
Like,
kind of
fucker!
they kind of hand wave
What?
that though. They hand wave that because Kaede is like, well, I couldn't admit that I did it because then nobody would like me and they wouldn't want to be my friend. Something like that.
Get the get
Yeah,
out of here.
yeah,
All right,
fuck off with that.
That was a bit
no.
sad.
Here's an easy one though. But you know what's like I think a real human way of doing it is like I wanted to invoke the first blood perk, but when I was in front of everyone, I just couldn't fess up to it. You know what I mean? Like, that's something I could buy into. Like, I just can't, I couldn't admit in front of everyone that I'd killed someone.
Wasn't
That
she
would
sort of
probably
like
be right.
that? She was like
Actually-
shell-shocked that she killed Rantaro and that it wasn't the mastermind? That was, I think that was part of the reason. And then she also, like, she didn't want everyone to hate her afterwards.
Okay, I'm
Now-
kind of thinking this out right now. So, I'm Kaede. I'm standing there. I know that my plan has failed. The mastermind is still alive. I could go and get help, but I know that while I'm away, this killing game is still going on. And I know that Shuichi is not going to be helpful.
Wait,
And
going on
everybody,
anyway, except
everybody
you're dead
could
now.
die. They could
but
all
everybody
die.
could still die. This is literally, like, maybe your only chance to actually save them now.
Yeah. Going out to get help is the only chance to get help. Is the only chance to solve this.
And I want to say that if there's people in the audience, I don't know, like, what Danganronpa V3 is doing. Maybe there is some plot reason we don't know of yet that she can't actually do that. But here's the thing, she doesn't know that.
Yeah.
It's still the right move, but as we've seen, she's not the greatest of decisions.
And also, that's my biggest problem with this sort of plot line. And I am like, I don't want to like sound like we're just dumping on the game. I'm enjoying the game so far. But like,
I know.
my
I
biggest
still like
problem with this particular plot line is the idea that like she doesn't know any of this stuff going in, and a lot of the assumptions she makes when she's choosing to do all these things are really weak. Like, it doesn't seem to fit with the character we've been sold.
I do want to defend this. I'll defend this a little bit. And I'll say this. For one thing, knowing this going into it, even if I had my doubts, you will, like, there are little clues that the game gives you, which get to a broader discussion. So I will say this isn't total garbage. This isn't Heavy Rain, where it's just suddenly like, wait, no, that character thought and said different things. Like, if you're really watching, you can see things that she says that allude to what she's doing.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the few games that actually, it may not do it right, but it's the closest I've ever seen.
The unreliable narrator, is that where you're going?
More
doing
like
that,
the narrator
Yeah.
did something that you as the character didn't know about. You as the player.
Now, as much as I'm ragging on it, I actually was kind of moved by the whole, like, notion that this is Shuichi's fault. And she's still, like, telling him, like, no, you, like, you know, this is gonna, you know, you all have to stick together and you have to, like, find the truth and all that.
Like,
I
bad planning-
actually thought, like,
Go ahead.
before, like, the verdict is passed down or whatever, like, or actually after the verdict, when everyone votes and he's like, that's right, the real killer was Kaide Akamatsu. And she's kind of talking to all of them and sort of saying this goodbye. I did like that a lot. I
Yeah.
thought that was really well done.
Like, bad
And-
planning aside and some of the holes that you can punch in it, I really like that it's this character where she wants everybody to cooperate and survive, and her entire motive was to try and save them, and even, you know, as she's dying, she's, you know, saying to them, and she uses the trial to make Shuichi stronger so he won't be afraid to find the truth, so that they might have a chance to survive. And it's a very moving thing, and it's very different from the other games where, you know, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the first trial, usually somebody is a bastard, and Monokuma is doing things to poison the well, and he's doing them here, but I like that at the end it doesn't work. Nobody takes advantage of the first blood perk. Nobody, like, turns against each other. They all still want to cooperate. And I'm wondering if that's going to carry on through the later trials.
I really like how Kaede's, like, I feel like, oh, well, as soon as Kaede was like, this is my dying wish that I want all of you to get out of here together, like, I was like, alright, this is going to be the theme for the rest of the game. Kaede's ghost is going to be haunting everyone. And whenever somebody, you know, they're all going to be carrying that around with them.
Can I have a special game where I play as Kaede's ghost for the rest of the game?
Yeah, that's the New Game Plus. That's actually the secret multiplayer mode. You play in someone else's game as Kaede's ghost.
Beware of bear ahead.
I also do like, this is kind of Danganronpa V3's statement to the player that no one is safe. No,
Yeah.
I don't think you have to like look at. I mean, who the hell? I guess who knows, really. But it's like, maybe don't even feel that comfortable with Shuichi as protagonist. Who knows?
Well, I don't. So
I specifically love that about V3 is because like every other game that I played that is mystery like you always say the protagonist has quote unquote plot armor. And Danganronpa so far has been the closest I've been like, well, maybe not. And V3 specifically does it first act. I love that.
it's
I want
alright,
to kind
but
of
I don't know.
I want to kind of
I think it's
reaffirm
innovative
that
enough.
statement of like nobody is safe, because in the first act we've got Rantaro, who's the wild card, which you think he's gonna have plot stuff later, but he's dead. We've got Kaede, who was our protagonist and we assumed would be invincible, and we've got Mono Kid, who dies.
Oh, so, this is another nice thing I want to, nice thing, but like, every execution in the series is named, and now at one point, like, yeah, Kaida gets, hers is called Der Flohwalzer. If you are curious.
Sorry, what was that was in?
I don't know how to say it. No, actually, I took German. I should know. It's like Der Flohwalzer? Flohwalzer?
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Oh, alright.
I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted you to say it several
Somebody
more times.
smart can tell us what that means later.
If you don't, actually, I can tell you what it means. It's a piano piece, and it's a piece that usually when you're learning piano, it's one of the first ones that you play. And it's the one that Kaede, more or less, ends up playing during the execution. If you are curious, does Danganronpa's soundtracks contain spoilers? Execution names tend to be music tracks. So on the one hand, you can see Der Flohwalzer, for example, and say, does that mean Kaida's going to die because she's a pianist? On the other, you could say, or is that just a track for her specifically? It's a pretty buyer beware kind of thing, and I don't know how to advise you on that, on anyone listening to that part of it. But anyhow.
Kind of an alternative to this, the game does, in the extras section, have a jukebox. So if you like a few certain tracks that you want to just listen to, you can pop the game open, you can play one track continuously, you can do shuffle, and you could do play all. It's a really nice thing.
It also does that for movies as well. So if you like the opening cutscene, like as much as I did, I immediately bought that with my mono coins.
Or if you wanted to watch Kaida's execution over and over again for some reason, you could do that.
Sickos.
No, actually.
So
her execution. So
yeah.
I feel
before we get that real quick, I just wanted to say, I mean, my thoughts on sort of Kaede being the murderer. I could go on for this for about a few hours, but my final thing about it was like I would have preferred it to be swapped in that Shuichi was the fake protagonist and Kaede was the real protagonist, because I like Kaede a lot more as a protagonist, and Shuichi's a bit boring.
Shuichi is definitely like your more standard type of.
And just to get a little more meta, like all of the Danganronpa aside from Despair Girls, the protagonists have been men. I would prefer to just switch it up. Just be Kaede with her skill of pianist that is not at all useful to the thing. But now we're the ultimate. Anyways, the execution.
Yes.
Yeah, the video, the execution animation to me struck me as something that could have been done long before they wrote any of this, because it was just piano themed. And I don't know, I was expecting, I guess, like more dramatic irony, like more like rubbing it in that she like tried to save everyone but she couldn't, and instead she just gets hung while playing the piano.
Well, like Bear drops Rentaro's body on her.
I mean, that's the
only cool part of
precedent
it,
that this game, I think, sets, is that it would be really, I don't know, I guess
Oh man, what if like
Nah,
instead of what they did, they like put her, like they made her play a piano that had like explosives on it, and it was before an audience of Rantaro's dead corpse just there in the room.
What? Explode his corpse?
Like the puppet master, like Bernie. Like, it's Weekend at Rantaro's.
Oh my god.
There's
What
like
if
little
Rentaro
two
died
little
and they
mono
had to
bears on.
pretend he didn't to fool
Yeah.
Monokuma.
Yeah,
to
that's
not ending the game.
That's the thing. It
So,
just turns into Weekend at Bernie's where the Mono Bears are just walking them around.
What I do find creepy about executions, and it's a little, I mean, it's a tiny bit different because the piano song is playing, but like, so Monokuma has a theme, which has like, it sounds like some kind of synthesized guy kind of going, no, 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 you know, whatever. And it plays into the execution because typically what'll happen then is Monokuma will do something kind of cartoony, like he's conducting this piano. Oh, I'm sorry, did we talk about the...
We didn't explicitly describe it. A short version is Kaede gets dragged away by her neck to this cartoonishly large piano where she is pulled up and down via her neck to play, I guess, Der Flurwauser. And eventually, at the end of it, she's sort of hanging either unconscious or dead from her neck above the piano, and sort of the piano... cover, yes, and it has a bunch of spikes on it. It closes, but not before Monodam pushes Mono Kid in it with it, and there is a big splatter of blood, guts, gore, and robot parts.
Yeah. I think it's a fairly safe bet she was hung to death, and then her body's like splat, you know.
But like, there's always this, like I said, this kind of cartoony aspect where it's like Mono Bear's conducting the piano, like the piece, and he's doing it in front of an audience of like hundreds of him, and I guess he's doing it badly because the audience just starts booing and throwing things, and at the end, you know, it stops and then the spikes drop on him.
Right.
And Monodam fucking kills Monokid. Like, there's been this whole setup of like, oh, he bullies Monodam. Is that real? Is that not real? Like, what's going on with that? And yeah, it was
should have believed
fucking
Monodam.
Wild. Like, oh my god, like these horrible bear children are like legitimately abusing each other to the point where one of them was driven to kill another one. Is that what happened?
I'll shy away from that. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, I guess, honestly. I kind of read that as a little more cartoony in a way. Like, I don't think I'm supposed to feel anything for the Mono Cubs, per se, right? I think also the game
but, like, what is the implication if it's not that? Like even if it's handled in a jokey way.
Yeah. It kind of sets the precedence of, okay, anybody can die. During the next trial, is another one of those Monocubs gonna die? Is this just gonna keep happening?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna happen. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm saying, like, there's a finite number of them, and it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like the game's way of ticking it off is kind of like how I was thinking of it.
I mean,
anyway,
I've got a
sad
theory.
Monokid died.
I don't really like it because,
like
like, I would prefer the executions to be about the characters, not the Cubs. But
that's so. How do I put this? That's like kind of, I think, what they were going for, though. It's like this sort of. It's a sort of juxtaposition of something like comic happening with something horrific. And I will say that Der Flowalzer is one of the more brutal Danganronpa executions of the series. Because it's like, this horrible thing has happened to Kaede, the character you care about, but the camera even focuses on Mono Kid's like head rolling away as if that's what you're supposed to care about. And like the game does things like that where it's like the Mono Bears are booing Monokumas, and he's like conducting faster and faster. The kids are pulling the ropes faster and faster. They can't keep up, you know. And it's like, it's supposed to be like doing a horrible marriage of like something like wacky and silly with something like really grave, you know. So that's where I'm kind of reading it, is like, no, you're not supposed to care about Monokid, but like the game is like the game is acting as if you're supposed to be caring about it.
yeah, I guess I didn't really think about that. I'm not sure it particularly does it that well, but I can see where it's coming from.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I liked it.
Also, just a note, Mono Bear does not give a fuck
about
Monokid's, dying.
Well,
he's like, well, I've got some more.
Anything.
Like, I've got 4 more.
Yeah. I love to, when we come back to it, Monophony is puking, as in like this white stream's coming out of her mouth, but her voice actress goes like meow, 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 like that, which is pretty funny. So yeah.
So we are now playing as Luigi.
So there's one thing I wanted to mention, maybe multiple things, but the first one is that I've played a little bit ahead, and our friendship fragments from Kaede do not transfer over.
What?
Yeah.
So like for skills and stuff like that, you'll still have the same points, but like all say you did all of your things with Kirumi, you're not going to have friendship level with Hirumi anymore, because it's Shuichi, and Shuichi didn't talk to anyone. He's awful.
Oh man.
I actually love that.
So if we want to go over those, we can. But I did talk to Owen a little bit about this. You can Kaide's things aren't in the end game. So normally in Danganronpa at the end game you can talk to everyone and sort of finish out their friendship routes. Normally, Kaide's isn't in the end game. You can only do it as Shuichi.
Okay, so basically anything that we did as Kaede isn't plot relevant.
You can, I wouldn't say that, but if you want to do all of Kaide's stuff, you have to do it at in Chapter 1. You can't go, New Game Plus or whatever. And there's only 2 written per character, which is sort of interesting.
So, like, because my thinking was, okay, if you played this game again, you'd spend it all on Rentaro, because he's the first to die, but you actually can't do that. You only get 2 with him.
So,
hang on. So, does that mean that for Kaede, there's only 2 people that have, like, if you were to spend every day with them, those are the only 2 characters that have a full route?
Every character only has 2 free time events that you can do with them.
Oh,
so you can only get a max
As
2
Kaede.
friendship fragments per
as
person.
Kaede. Right.
As
Yes.
Kaede.
Okay.
As Shuichi in New Game Plus, you can do full 5 friendship fragments with both Rantaro and Kaede, which is unique. They wrote 10 extra scenes for them, but so if we want to go over what we did last reading over who we talked to, we can do that.
Was there anything that anybody got that was that seemed particularly plot relevant? Because I got one thing that I think was interesting from talking to Kokichi as Kaede.
Actually, I talked to Kokichi as Kaede too.
Because he
Now
tells
you
a
mention
lie
it.
and he's like, I think I know you from somewhere, but it's really not clear if he's lying or not. Like he's like, oh, I am. She's like, are you lying? And it's like, I don't know.
No, you know what?
He might remember something from before
says-
we had our memories wiped.
He says that he knows us, that we sheltered him from hostile enemies. We raised piano money for him while he was on the run, but he betrayed us and we were killed. And then Kaede's like, what are you talking about? And he goes like, I'm just screwing with you. You got to be less gullible. You're going to be the first one to die. And then we go back to our room annoyed.
Yeah, the ones I did.
Who's the note taker now?
The ones I did were pretty standard.
I got something
Kokichi
that was plot relevant, or maybe plot relevant. I talked to Kibo one day, and we asked him, what's it like being a robot? He says that we can't ask any specific questions about what he was built with, but he'll answer general questions. And one of the questions we ask him is, do you need to sleep? And he says, no, I don't need to sleep. I can just recharge my batteries. They last a week after they recharge, and it only takes an hour to do that, and I'm awake the entire time.
Wait, so why won't he tell you what he's made of?
I don't know. I think it's just personal, or maybe he can't. I don't know. It's not really explained. So
You have to sign an NDA.
yeah, you have to sign the NDA. But like for each character, we can ask them one of 3 questions. The one I asked was, do you sleep? The other one was, do you eat? And then the third one was, how do you feel about the Roomba?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What does
How
he
do
say?
you feel about
Oh, I don't know. I that seemed really too personal.
Yeah, that seems really mean.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, I felt like, because you get this multiple choice question, usually, well, you have to give them a gift, and if you get the gift right, you have a multiple choice question they ask you, and I feel like with Kaede, weren't any right answers, because, like, one of them I did with Miyu, and I got a bad reaction to every single answer, like, even when I, like, reloaded, even though she loved the gift I gave her, you know?
Could be a sign that talking to Miyu is just going to be a bad experience.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah. I think the funny thing is that the time together is that, like, Miyu made me sit with her in silence for about an hour. It was okay. You know, but, like, I could get into her thing, but it's not plot relevant.
Right.
I'll give a short description of the ones I did. They aren't plot relevant. Kaito, I talked to him. He said he has to be taught piano because he helped to go to space and communicate to aliens via music, whatever. He wants to be the first human to contact an alien. He had a cool talk about the Voyager Golden Record, which is an awesome thing. I like. Go wiki that if you got time. Kirumi Tojo, the maid, I talked to her. She did basically what you expect. She's like, do you have any food allergies? Any things you like? And
do you have any special dietary needs?
Yeah,
right.
So you ask her about this. She just wants the best service for everyone. And let's see, who else did I talk with? Maki. Talked about hanging around with kids. She asked, what does love mean to you? I said it's about having a benevolent heart. And she says that no one can ever be truly benevolent. That doesn't exist. Only a god could be truly benevolent.
That's what I said too.
My time with Shuichi, I will say that was nice. It's like, you know, I gave him the weathercock, which is a symbol of truth in Portugal. He seemed to like it. Asked what it's like to be a detective. Do you smoke a pipe and say indeed all the time? And he's just like, no, my uncle gets cases all the time. And, you know, usually about infidelity. And I said, infidelity cases must get intense. And then, like, he said that he must, Kaede comments, he must have seen some rough things and wonders if he's weird around romance or women, and he gets embarrassed. And Kaede says, like, Shuichi, you should never cheat on someone. Which is kind of, like, out of nowhere. But, like, so anyway, apparently they find runaways and follow up even if they don't have to, because their uncle's detective agency is that nice.
Ganta's stuff
Also,
wasn't plot relevant. So you can give him stuff like glasses cases, cufflinks, ties, stuff that'll make him look more gentlemanly because that's what he's all about.
Oh.
And
someone else played ahead.
what?
You know, you seem to know a lot about what Gonta likes.
Well, no, it's just because I did
Oh yeah, I looked all those up.
Oh,
I
no,
just
not
looked
me,
it
I
up.
guess.
Oh,
I
didn't
didn't. Fuck it.
There was actually a list that I was looking at earlier, and I was like, oh, this will probably be helpful for everyone. He's like, and I posted it in the chat, and everyone's like, there's a big spoiler in there, and then I looked at the bottom, and I was like, oh, Kaide's face is at the bottom. Why would I be able to give her a present? Oh. So I guess I did get spoiled in that respect, but I didn't really think anything of it.
I gotcha.
But now it is safe to look up. I will actually post that link for the rest of you guys. What the gifts are for other people.
But anyway, I learned about this by talking to him, not through cheating. He wants to know what it is to be a gentleman. Do you have to act a certain way? Do you talk a certain way? Do you drink tea or dance? And it's nice because he's really trying. He's tripping over his words. He doesn't know what to do. And the questions are just all about, help me, Kaede. What am I supposed to do? And it's just nice.
Oh.
Well,
Good.
all right.
So now, I think one last thing that happens before the end of the chapter is after Kaede dies, everybody's sort of in the room, and they're just kind of left there with everything that happened, and most people leave, but Monokuma has a speech at the end that was like, now she's dead, and after he leaves, Kaito confronts Shuichi and is like, why didn't you say anything back to him? Why didn't you yell back? Why didn't you get mad? And he like punches Shuichi in the face.
Yep.
Take off your hat, Shuichi. Anyway, that's what that, and then Kaito is like, look, I feel like Kaito would have been a better boyfriend for Kaede than Shuichi. Anyway, Kaito says, Shuichi, maybe you should go to her ultimate lab and go there. And he goes, and you go there, and you still can't play the piano, but you can listen to the music that she referenced earlier. And
right, Claire de Lune,
moment where he like reflects, and her after image appears playing the piano, and they have like a moment where he's like, Kaede, I'm not gonna let you have died in vain, all that kind of thing.
And they
maybe he finds his resolve, who knows.
They kind of flash back to this earlier. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna make a prediction, but
they flash back to this earlier scene where it's like Kaede's kind of figuring out why Shuichi doesn't want to do detective stuff, and she says, well, why don't I play a song? I'll play Claire de Lune by Debussy. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know what that was. And then Shuichi puts the CD in, and it starts playing Claire de Lune, and I'm like, oh, that's from Ren and Stimpy. I know that.
Wrecked.
My prediction, by the way, I don't know. I think it's possible Kaeda's coming back. I don't know this at all. Because the thing I want to bring up, because knowing that she would die too, I was wondering about this. When you start the game and she wakes up in the locker, it says Ultimate Revival. And when the Mono Cubs give you your first memory back, it again says Ultimate Revival. Which then I'm like, she'd die every... This is like me guessing, like thinking she was going to die in the first chapter. And I'm like, is she going to come back to life every chapter or what? So that's like my little kind of prediction, but I'm imagining that's going to be like, I don't know, who knows.
I have a prediction too. So we've seen that mono kids are dying or can die, and I think that's going to be important later. I'm going to say that there is some sort of memory wiping or resetting involved here. And I'm going to predict that Rantaro's memory got put into the mono kids, and like each of them is like a portion of him, and Monodam kind of fighting back is like the portion of him that wants this to stop.
Stop having a rager.
Yeah, stop having a rock hard rager.
Mono Kid got all the sexual energy of Rantaro.
Yeah, Mono Kid got all the sexual energy. Monophony is like the feminine side.
I kind of like that.
So, you know, something to hope for.
Do we want to say what we're going to read towards?
Yes.
For next session?
Yes, please.
Well, let me ask you. All right, so I have a short, a medium, a long. If you... Well, all right, what did you think of... This was about 2.5, 3 hours, I think, of reading, the last one. Right?
Yeah, it was rough, actually, because I didn't realize how, like, engrossing it was gonna be, and so I just played it straight through until, like, 1 in the morning on a night where I should not have, but such is this game, I'm not gonna make that mistake twice.
Do you want to, I mean... Okay, so do you want, like, something of that length?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just, I'm not gonna get fooled again.
Okay.
I mean, if we're going short, medium, long, I am comfortable with long.
All right, and I'm gonna ask you another question. Should there be a death? Would 40 minutes of investigation on top of what you read, let's say, so I know for next time, like, be too much, or is that like, nah, let's go for a big thing because I want to? Do you want to speculate before or after investigation?
I would say if we were to split it like that, stop at the death, because then we get the investigation and then we get the trial. We leave it right there, we speculate, and then the next session is the investigation and the trial. That's how I do it.
Yeah. All right then. So I think that's all right with everyone then? We'll read up to before investigations and things like that. We won't necessarily include them.
Read up to investigations is what we said?
Yeah, investigations start.
Just like this past time. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I'd prefer.
Okay. All right. There's going to be a magic show.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So watch the magic show. Enjoy,
Who could do
everybody.
that?
I love how much I constantly oscillate between thinking this game is fucking great and this game is fucking terrible.
What do you mean? What's wrong with the magic show? They have to live there. I mean,
I like how that's just my impression of how Danganronpa fans already are. Like, they're already like, oh, I hate how I have to constantly oscillate between I love this game and I fucking hate this game.
nah, I think.
good.
Oh, you'll love it.
You'll
that is
love
the
it
one
until
part
your
of it that I
favorite dies.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, that and also just like there's a magic show.
There's more than just that.
Cospox.
But, like, I'm kind of obfuscating
Cospox was
things.
the highlight of this for me, for sure.
I'll ask you too, and I'm not gonna change what I've said or whatever. But like, do you like it obfuscated, where if you don't know like somebody's dying in this reading or not?
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody want to? Do we want to say like who we think might go, or is it just kind of random at this point? I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, we can't really.
It's hard to.
Ooh,
I mean,
For me,
if
it's
I were
always hard to
guess-
say unless I knew what a motive is.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to guess anybody, it would be either Maki or Kurumi. Would be. I mean, not the first person to die, but if somebody kills somebody, it would be one of those two.
My
Because-
feeling is. Sorry.
Because Maki seems to be like the most distant to everybody, and hasn't really even gotten that many lines. So we don't know what her deal is, and she doesn't seem very friendly to anybody. And Kurumi is the person where, I mean, she says that she just wants to serve everybody. So, I mean, does that include Monokuma? Does she want to serve the mastermind, whoever that is? I don't know.
Or somebody could just tell her, like, I really want you to do a hit on this other person. And then what'll she do?
I command you.
I think that Shuichi is obviously on the hit list for people that someone might want to murder, because they would blame him for Kaede's actions.
Oh yeah, they'd be like, you let Kaede die because your detective work was shoddy. You're a terrible detective. You shouldn't even be alive.
And he'll be like, I solved the whole fucking case, you idiot. You'd be dead if it weren't for me. You were thinking I did it.
Yeah, well, your hat's stupid.
I can see it now.
I hope he gets upset over his hat again.
They
him.
insulted my hat and they had to die.
And then his execution is he's crushed by a giant baseball cap. All right then. We'll see you next time for some magic. Later.
So long.
So long.
Bye-bye.
Divac.
I'm not
So long,
saying
dear-
it this time.
Divac, you
So
left
long,
me
dear
hanging. I
Paul
went out on a
I'm
bridge
not,
for you.
Well, didn't want me to say it. Look,
Talking
you guys,
about
I don't-
talk
look,
about the real betrayal.
So
Jeez.
long, farewell!